Here we go.
Thank you.
Computer had a little glitch. Okay, 2-1, day 2.
2-1, day 2.
Okay, yesterday we made the frequency histogram. Now we're going to make a frequency polygon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Frequency polygon. This is a connected line graph, so you're going to connect the dots.
Yeah. Why would that be called such a freaky, like, polygon?
Well, you're going to see.
Freaky. Why doesn't it just say?
Connected line graph. And it's all about what's on each axis. The horizontal axis has to be the class midpoints. Vertical axis, obviously frequency. And this has to be connected to the x-axis. X-axis to make a polygon. And I'm going to tell you what to do down here in a minute. So leave one line. So we'll use the same data we had yesterday. Yep. Okay. I'll just get my graph ready. Yeah, just one line. I'm going to add something to it in a minute, after we start the graph. Okay, so what we need are class midpoints down here, and I have the table handy. Our class midpoints are 5, 16, 27, 38, 49, and 60. They're all 11 apart, because that was our class width. So, good question yesterday. Because our smallest value does start at 0, if it doesn't, you just put a little break in the graph. I saw 1 or 2 people do it, and you start wherever you want with your smallest number in your thing. But ours does start at 0, so we don't need that. So just estimate wherever you want to call 5. And then we need a distance of 11, because I'm 11 to the next. I probably made that too big. I'm going to back this up. Because if that's only 5, and I'm trying to be proportional here, I need a distance of 11. And I need to get like 6 of these on here. I don't know if I'll fit. I'm going to back this up a little bit.
Why don't you just make the 11 jump?
There's my 5. So now I make a jump to 11, or add 11, I'll be at 16. Then 27. Then 38. Then 49. And my last one is 60. Now our frequencies, our highest frequency was 27. What did we count by yesterday? Yesterday.
Count by 5 and go to 30.
Let's go by 5s this time? All right. So we'll count by 5s. 10, 15, 20.
Oh, that was funny.
25. 30. This is our frequency. These are our ages. So, it's going to be connect the dots. So I need a dot for each of the classes. Have you caught up yet? Okay, so our first one, our midpoint, when the midpoint's 5, the frequency was up at 27. So our first dot's going to be at 527. So 527, just estimating that. Next one, at 16, the frequency was down at 13. 16, the frequency was 13.
Why are you saying 27 then?
So the third class has a midpoint of 27, the frequency's at 16. So 27, we're at 16.
Oh, you screwed that out, didn't you?
And then at 38, we're at 7. At 49, we're at 11. And then at 60, we're at 3. Okay, connected line graph, so connect the dots.
What are you doing?
Oh, that's my dot from, oh, that's my bullet, sorry. There's my bullet. Don't do that one.
Your hand is... I like these graphs. They're so much fun.
Okay, so we've got our connected line. What we're missing is a polygon. The polygon's enclosed with straight segments. To do this properly, the mistake people make on the test, when we have the test, is they know a polygon has to be enclosed. They remember that, and that's what they do. They chop it straight down here. Chop, chop. But there are people younger than 5, and there are people older than 60. So the way to make this uniform is to back, up, and move forward 1 class width. And then connect to those 2 points. So instead of chopping off at 60, if I want to show the people that are over 60, if I move up 1 class width, where am I going to be at?
71.
71. That's how I connect to the x-axis here. If I back up 1 class width, where am I going to be? I'm at 5, and I back up 1 class width. Where am I going to be at? -6, and I connect to that. Now I have a polygon because it's enclosed. So that's the proper way to connect. Don't chop straight down. Blend it out.
Bullet on the x-axis, you make like a little dot, and then connect here, does it not?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Good with the frequency polygon? Oh. Just showing you how to connect. You back up and move forward 1 class width. From our beginning midpoint and our last midpoint, we go 1 more each way.
With 80, why wouldn't you just connect it to the zero from the origin?
Because everything, you need it all to be uniform in width is why. Everything's just supposed to be uniform. If I connect to there, that makes that one super short. So everything's uniform in size all the way through on these graphs. Any other questions on that? Okay, next one. Is a relative frequency histogram. Relative frequency histogram. What's a histogram look like? A bar graph. So here, the horizontal axis. Just like the frequency histogram, you can use midpoints or class boundaries. We did class boundaries yesterday. We're going to do midpoints today just so you can see the difference. And you can do whichever one you like. What do you think's going on the vertical axis?
Frequency.
try again. If it's a relative frequency histogram, we're going to put relative frequency on the axis. Yes, it does. And there's nothing special about this one because you know what a bar graph looks like. So let's do midpoints this time because we did boundaries yesterday. And see how that changes things.
How far is it going to go up?
Same thing, we're doing the same data. So,
So just to 30.
yep. Stick with 5s then, you're telling me? So if we go with midpoints like we just got done doing, we'll put my 5 here. And then add 11. And now on the verticals, our frequency will go by, we went by 5, so. Ready for the first bar? Not yet. Okay, that first class has a frequency of 27, so I want the bar to go up to 27 again. But I've got midpoint this time. Where is my midpoint going to be in reference to the bar that I put there? In the middle of the bar. So that means it's going to hit halfway between these two. So I go up to 27. Over, and I do know that that leading edge was at negative 0.5, so I know I've got to kind of kick it back to that negative 0.5 there. But I do want that 5 to be centered in the bar. I made a bar that went up to 27 with 5 in the middle of the bar. Because it's the midpoint, so it'll be in the middle of the bar. That's negative 0.5, and that's going to be at 10.5. It's going to, the edges of the bar are still going to be at these boundaries. I just haven't labeled them. Because halfway between 5 and 16 is 10 and a half. Now our next one. Oh, I didn't put relative frequency on there. You guys, why don't you stop me?
Oh, because there was a teacher.
I guess. Let's just change these, because relative frequencies are percents. Let's change this to, oh, shoot. Oh, I messed this all up. What's our highest relative frequency? We can just scribble them out. Relative frequency. I put thinking frequency on there. Relative frequency.
0.35.
Yep. Think of it as 35, 17, 21, 9, 14, and 4. Don't let the decimal scare you. So if I had no decimals there, what would I count by if I wanted to get up to 35?
5.
5 would still work. So instead of making this 5, though, we'll make it 0.05, 0.10, 15, 20, 25. I still got to go up 2 more then. Sorry, my bad. 0.3, 0.35.
Should we erase the bar?
Nope, it's the same bar. I just got to make it go up to 35.
Well,
So it's no different. That's the only thing I do is change my scale to be relative frequency instead of frequency. I'll give you a chance to fix that. Now this, are you ready? No, not yet. Okay, I'll wait. 35%, so up to 0.35, up to the very top. Now you ready for the second one?
no, because now we're confused on where to put the graph.
Same thing, I said to make it a little taller. Same bar, same position, just had to go up to 35 instead of that dumb number I had there before, 27. So my bar is right here.
Wait, you wanted to go up to 35?
Yep. There's my bar. It's a beautiful bar. I'll decorate it while you're... Not a decorator? Look at how beautiful that is. Got some nice little diamonds in there. Okay, the second bar. We got to keep moving. Second bar is going up to, it's 17% of the data, so we're going up to 0.17. So estimate that. And it's centered around the 16. So you go halfway in between the next division. So you want the midpoint to be in the middle of the bar. The next one's relative frequency is 21%, so up to 0.21. And then halfway to there. Next one is 9%. %14 is next. And the last one is 4%.
We have one more graph?
I think so. See if I can't not mess this next one up.
Is that all we're doing then?
Graphs, yep. All right, our last one.
I thought we had 4 sheets.
I think it's 3. I have to turn the page up. I think it's 3. 4. 0, 4. All right. Last graph is called an ogive.
Oh my god, like a Ouija?
I don't think so. Ogive. So now you have no idea what's on the vertical axis, ogive. We didn't make an ogive column. But this, AKA, they should have called it what you're actually putting on the axis, because then you know, a cumulative frequency graph.
What's the reasoning behind it?
I have no idea where that name came from. Cumulative frequency graph.
Call it an ogive.
This is a connected line graph. Not a polygon. On the horizontal axis, you need to have the upper class boundary. Upper class boundary. And then obviously on the vertical axis, you have that cumulative frequency. And the little star for this one. Leave 2 lines for this one. It's one sentence, but it might take 2 lines. So leave yourself a little bit of space for information to come.
Wait, those are 2 separate.
Yeah, it's going to be one sentence, but I think it might take more than 1 line of, we'll see. This might leave 2, just to be safe.
Wait, 2 for each?
Just 2 lines.
2 lines.
Leave 2 lines blank.
Why are there 2?
So you leave 2 lines. I try not to be confusing, but you want to make me confusing. I'm exhausting, aren't I?
Are we going?
Okay, yes. Okay, we need cumulative frequency. What's my highest cumulative frequency?
Isn't that we're making the same 77.
77. If I need to get up to 77, what do you want to count by?
Oh, got
10.
10.
10 sound good. So we'll count by 10, because we got to get up to 77. That'll mean 8 marks. That's pretty reasonable. So, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80. There's our cumulative frequency. Now I need upper class boundaries. You look. Here's our class boundaries. The upper class boundaries are over here. So the first class, the upper class boundary is 10.5. Then I keep adding 11 to get to each of these.
So we're going to write those.
So we're going to be writing these down on the axis. So 10.5 is our upper class boundary, lower class boundary, upper class boundary. So 10.5. And you can just add 11 to get to the next one. 21.5. 32.5. 43.5.
Where do you start at?
When do we end?
And the last one is 65.5. We do end there. So upper class boundaries. So far, so good. Okay, it's connected lines. We need dots for each one. And we're using the cumulative frequency column. So for the first class, what's my cumulative frequency? 27. So at 10.5, I want a dot at 27. At 21.5,
40.
40. At 32.5,
56.
56. About there. It's hard to tell. Where am I at? I'm at the 63. 74. And the last one, 77. Okay, it's connected line. Oops. All right. Because this is cumulative frequency, we'd like to have this graph start at 0 and then go up. So where do you think I'd indicate the 0 at, where I have no data? Yes. So we're going to connect. We're going to back up. No, we're going to connect. How do I want to say that?
How do you want to say that?
Connect to the x-axis at the lowest class boundary. So what's my lowest class boundary? And you remember from yesterday, negative 0.5. So I'll back this up to negative 0.5 and connect.
Sure why we needed 2 lines for that?
Well, that was my estimate. That's right. Then you would have complained. You didn't tell me to leave 2 lines. Okay, so it's all graphs today. Make them tables. If we need to go through that calculator stuff on the start, to how to get them in a list, and we can do that. No, you do not. It's not a polygon. So because it's cumulative, you want to start end where it's the your total amount, not connected on the end.
We should go over the calculator.
Yep, I think we'll maybe do the first one and review that, but I'll write the assignment down and we'll start that first one that needs a calculator.
Go over our quiz.
And pass back the quiz. But look at how much time we have today. So we are 2-1, day 2, where we are, page 42. See, I didn't get everything in yesterday. I gotta look real quick. 42. Let's see, I went through 14. Okay, 9 through 14 is just reading some graphs. So page 40, not 42, page 40. 9 through 14, you're just reading graphs, and then I'm probably going to give you one of each kind of graph after that. So let's go frequency distribution and frequency histogram. Let's see, we got to go 18. Let's go 22. Cumulative frequency and an ogive. Let's go 28. And a frequency polygon, 30. So there's one of each graph there. What you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to have to make the table for each one of these. So let's go over 18 together, because that's where you got to put the data in and get it organized. So we'll do 18 and get you started. So everybody write that down.
It's really easy to start in the middle of the assignment.
Yeah.
But it's like my favorite.
Is it? I don't know what to tell you. Don't start twitching on me.
How many lines do you think is this?
Well, it says the number of classes. We're making a table first. It has 5 classes, so you need 5 rows.
For, like,
Oh, I don't know.
94.
I don't care about that. That's not my problem either. So,
Okay.
18. The first thing you're going to have to do, it says, is make the frequency distribution, and then we're going to make a frequency histogram. So you just need the classes and the frequencies, and then you can either do midpoints or class boundaries. It's going to be your choice, because that's what has to go on the axes. So we'll go classes first. Nope.
Wow, we need to slow down for that.
Classes, frequency, and then you've got a choice to either use midpoints here or class boundaries, your choice. Because that's what's going to go on a frequency histogram. So you decide what you want in this last column.
Class boundaries.
Okay, so on 18, we are going to do 5 classes. So the first thing you need to do is put your numbers in a list and sort them in order. That's from yesterday. So grab your handy-dandy calculator.
We're doing the rankings.
We're going to start you out, yep.
Why are we stopping everything?
Do you remember how to get to the lists? To put numbers in? You press stat right here, stat. Then what?
Edit.
Edit number 1.
And you go to the top.
You want to go to the top and clear out the numbers that are there, because we don't want any more. So you have to be all the way up in the top where it says L1. Press clear,
And then go back down.
and then arrow back down or hit enter. Doesn't clear it until you do that second thing. Now start typing in. See if I can't do this right today. If you don't have a graphing calculator at home, you're just going to have to put these in order by hand. I mean, there's not that many here, but it can be done. Now, do you remember how to put them in order?
Yes.
I'm going to quit first. You're going to get out of this list, so quit to get out of the list. Now go back to that stat. And you'll see them there, sort A and sort D. Which one do we want? A. So that's number 2. Now you got to tell it which. Austin, help her out, please.
Why is it A?
Ascending, because we want to go small to high. Okay, so we've got them in order, but now we need to know our class limits. Our class limits. So we've got to find our class width. Do you remember how to find the class width? Max minus min divided by number of classes. Does anybody have our highest number? 51. 51. What's our smallest number? 32. And this is telling us to do 5 classes. So what?
Wait, it'll tell you how many?
Yep, it tells you how many classes to do. 19 divided by 5 is 3.8. So what's our class width? 4. We always round up. Even if that came out 3.1, we always round up here. It's the only time we always round up. So, the first class, what was our smallest number? 32. And I want 4 values here. Where am I going to stop at? 32, 33, 34, 35. It looks like 3, but that's because you're not including the 32. Okay, so we just add 4 vertically to get the next number. So 32 plus 4 gives me 36, 40, 44, and 48. I just add the class width vertically. That's what I wrap my brain around on these. 39, 43, 47, 51. And then now what's your job? Frequency. What does frequency mean? Count how many. How many of our data values are from 32 to 35? And they're in order on your calculator now, so you go back into that stat, edit, and there they are in order. So how many 32 to 35s do we have? 2.
You count the ones that are 32.
Yes, you count the endpoints. And then the 36 to 39, so we taking Austin's word for it? 6. Next.
5.
Next. 2. And then how many uppers do we have? 1. What? Then you didn't put them in right if everybody else is agreeing with that. Is there another 39 that's below this that you're not saying? Okay, and now now it's up to you. Do you want midpoints or boundaries?
Midpoint.
Okay, if you want midpoint, you're going to average. What's in the middle of 32 and 30? I'll do both, but you only need one of these columns now. Whichever one you like to use. I'll do midpoints here and boundaries over here. You only need one of these. You pick which one you want to use. I don't care. You do not need both of these columns. If you do midpoints, you're going to average. What's the average of 32 and 35?
33.5.
33.5. And now you just have to add 4 to get to the next one. Boundaries. What would be my lower class boundary here? If it starts at 32, what do? Remember, the boundaries close the gap. Back up a half.
Why do you only have to go half?
Because I'd go a half here, because halfway between 35 and 36 is 35 and a half.
So it's 37.5 is the next one. Yeah, the next one is 35.5.
35.5 is halfway. Oh, this is 35 points, because it's going to start at the same.
33.5 plus 4 is 37.5.
Okay, for the midpoint.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
just
whichever one you want to do now, you continue on.
You just add 4, right?
You just add 4 here. Okay. And then you just have to make your graph after that. And this is the frequency histogram.
And then all we have to do is do what?
The histogram is 18. It tells you up in the top. Yes.
Right, so do I have to make a graph?
Yep, it's asking after that, make the frequency histogram for this one. I gave the four problems at the end are each one's a different graph.
41.5.
So just add the columns you need to make that particular graph. All right, I'm gonna shut this off, and I'm gonna help the absent person.